the very beginning of Jacob's Tent, about 5 years ago now, the very beginning of the congregation, my wife, Brandon, myself, some others, we were sitting around and just discussing, what we wanted this congregation to be, what we wanted it to be about, basing that on past experience and things we know that, we didn't like, things that didn't work, and things that we wanted to see happen. And so as we were sitting around talking about what the vision was and what we wanted this congregation to be, Beth coined this phrase that pretty much encapsulated a thought, an idea, an ideal that we wanted this congregation to be. In fact, it's become the focus of our congregation. And we put this on our website. If you go to the Jacob's Tent website, you see this on the front page. But it says interaction and not entertainment. And what she meant, what we mean by that is the idea was to promote a congregation that truly focused on being a family, being comprised of healthy families, and then all those healthy families coming together as a community so that we could be one big family, as opposed to just starting another church. I'm one of those people that I'm not really interested in religion, and I hope you understand what I mean by that. I'm more interested in relationship, and I say that not because I'm the first one to say it or it's my idea. That's what we see from our Father in heaven from the very beginning. He's all about relationship. He's not about religion. And so we wanted Jacob's Tent to be a congregation that was primarily about relationships, not just the religious aspects of things. Now, I will say that in the past 5 years, going on 6 years, to do that has been difficult, or maybe I should rephrase that, challenging. Because we've had all kinds of people from all types of backgrounds coming into becoming part of this congregation, and 99% of them were coming because they too wanted a community. They wanted a congregation that is about relationship. But there have been challenges, and there's been things that we've had to address, and so as much as possible, we've been continuing to uphold that ideal of interaction as opposed to entertainment. Now, one of the ways that we've tried to kind of expand our reach, if that's the proper way to put it, in this wanting to interact with people is through the live stream. In fact, I'll tell you a story. I think I've shared it from time to time, but going back to the very first meeting that we had in February of 2019, Brandon was insistent that we set up cameras and live stream. And my idea was, let's don't fool with that. Let's just kind of do what we're going to do. And he's like, we're going to need to do this. And I'm glad that he was insistent upon that. Because as you know, if you're watching this, that was a very, very important step that this congregation took to share with people who couldn't be here locally. What God is doing at Jacob's Tent. And so through that, we have developed a vast online community, people who consider Jacob's Tent to be their congregation, to be their fellowship. And many of these people don't have anything. They don't have a local community. And so for many, Jacob's Tent is their community. So with that in mind, today we want to announce something to you that's very, very exciting. We believe it's going to be very instrumental in continuing to uphold that ideal of interaction as opposed to entertainment. And that is another aspect of our online outreach, and that's this production studio that I'm sitting in right now. In fact, look around and see, it's not huge. It's rather small and cramped, quite honestly, but it's efficient, and it kind of looks like I'm sitting in some exotic location somewhere in some remote place, but actually I'm here at the offices of Jacob's Tent here in Cleveland, Tennessee. And so as you look around and you see what we have here, first of all, I want to thank Brandon and Cody and Danny and Raph and Nathaniel and everybody who is on the production team for making this possible. A lot of vision, a lot of creativity, and just a lot of hard work went into bringing this into existence. And so I want to thank them for that. But I also want to thank the live stream community. By and large, the live stream community has been the largest investors in the production aspect of Jacob's Tent. The live stream and, trying to enhance what we do through the live stream. And so as you continue to invest in what we do here at Jacob's Tent, we are going to continue to upgrade, improve, and do things to continue to reach out to those of you who cannot be here locally. And this production studio, this set here, and all the things that you can't see in the studio, all the things that are behind the scenes. We've invested a lot back into that because we so appreciate our online community. And so we believe that this is in part due to what you have done and how you have participated and how you've supported Jacob's Tent. And you need to understand what we're doing here and this the set, the equipment, all the things that, like I said, are behind the scenes. They're not cheap. It's very, very expensive to do this. But we feel very strongly that it is something that needs to be done. And we're going to, hopefully, if God wills, we're going to do even more in the future so that we can continue to interact with you who are scattered across the nation and even overseas. But it's also going to be something that's going to be beneficial for those who are here locally as well, because they're going to have the same kind of access that you're going to have to the content that's produced here. Now, in that regard, our goal is to produce content that allows us to address things that we wouldn't ordinarily be able to do on a Shabbat service. We're not going to get into certain things in a Shabbat service. We're not going to get into certain things on a Wednesday night Bible study. But here in the studio, it's going to allow us to address certain things, do certain things. For example, one of the things that we want to do is dedicate more time to answering the questions that come into us from the live stream community. When we have Midrash, I have to admit, it's too easy to just go to somebody who's sitting in front of you with a question. And we do try to bring in questions that come in from the live stream. But unfortunately, we can't get to them all. And sometimes their questions are missed, or we don't have time to get to them. So one of the things that we want to do is to spend more time on answering some of these questions that come in. And I'll say that and realize that we probably still won't get to everybody's question, but we want to make the attempt to do that. So that's one of the things that we want to do. We're going to start addressing current events and how those current events, why they're relevant to us, why they are important for us to understand, and not so much to do a news report, but to consider how the things that are going on in the world might impact us and how we may need to respond to certain things that are going on in the world in order to continue to uphold and advance our mission in this world. And that is to be witnesses of the resurrected Messiah, to advance the kingdom of heaven in spite of the kingdom of darkness. We're going to produce some shorts on different issues. I think that's the word that you call it, shorts, or these little really short videos about different issues that are fundamental to our faith. We have a lot of people who come to Jacob's Tent either locally or through the live stream, that this walk, this walking out the commandments and the feasts and all these things, for a lot of people that's rather new, and they're trying to figure some things out. And they have some very, very important questions about things that a lot of us who've been in this for a while, we kind of take it for granted. But there's a lot of people who need to resolve some things in their heart and mind about why we do the things we do, how to do the things that we do. And so we're going to start producing some content it's going to address those kinds of things. And we have a lot of other ideas. There's a board back here in the production office that the other day it was empty, and today it's full of thoughts and ideas. And so we're going to be looking at those. It's not going to happen. All of it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a little time. But we wanted to let you know that this is something besides what you see on Shabbat, besides what you see on Wednesday night, besides the feasts, that the celebrations that we get together for. There are other things that are happening here at Jacob's Tent, and this is going to be a big part of wanting to continually reach out to people and touch base with people about things that are important to them, questions, hopefully providing some answers, some insights, et cetera, et cetera. And so we hope that you're as excited about this project as we are. Now, I want you to know that it's not going to always just be Bill up here talking. Yes, I'm going to share a lot. And there's a lot of things that I'd like to do in this particular platform. In fact, I was telling some of the crew just before we started, since we're doing this now, my head has just been buzzing with ideas and things that I'd really like to do that, again, I ordinarily wouldn't be able to do in a Shabbat service. But it's not going to just be me. We're going to bring in some of the other staff. We're going to bring in time. We're going to bring in some other teachers. And on that note, we want to involve you in this as much as possible. So we'd like to hear your ideas. If you have some ideas of things that you feel like would be beneficial for the body out there for us to address and to speak on, we want to hear your ideas. And maybe later we'll tell you exactly how you can contact us with that. But we do want to hear from you. We are interested in your thoughts on the matter, getting feedback from you on what you like, what you don't like, etc. But in the end, our goal is to do more than just produce teachings. I've done that a lot of my life, and I appreciate the value of that. But we want it to be more than just teachings. We want it to be about things that are going to provoke conversation among people about different topics. Civil conversation, I want to stress, but conversation, interacting once again with you, even when you cannot be here locally. So we want to do these projects that are going to continue to advance the idea of interaction and not just entertainment, and address these topics that are important to us in this walk that we have chosen, you and I. So that's just kind of a broad overview of what our goal here is and what the ideal behind it is. And in the months ahead, and God willing, the years ahead, we're going to be producing more and more content out of this little studio to bring to you through all the different platforms, especially the app, the Jacob's Tent app, which is another important feature of all of this. But our goal, again, is to do more than just get up here and talk and you listen. Hopefully this is going to provoke even more interaction between us all. So I want to thank you all of you who have supported Jacob's Tent prayerfully, financially, and otherwise. Thank you for making this possible. And it's through your giving to Jacob's Tent that we've been able to do this. As I said earlier, this is not inexpensive by any stretch. It's very expensive. But by the Father impressing it upon you to support Jacob's Tent as you do, this has become a reality. And so we want to thank you for that. And we want you to see firsthand what you're giving to Jacob's Tent is, how it's having an impact and what the results of that are, and how it's being used to advance the kingdom message and the gospel of the kingdom. And I hope that you're going to continue to be blessed by the ministry of Jacob's Tent. Now, in a moment, I'm going to bring Brandon on for just a quick second, and I want him to share with you some of his thoughts from, the more technical, visionary aspect of things, and I think you'll be blessed by what he has to say. So I've got my oldest son here on set with me, Brandon Cloud, and I know that everybody who joins us on live stream is familiar with Brandon. He's one of our worship leaders, but he's also the head of our production department. From the very beginning, as I was sharing earlier, he felt it was very important that we make efforts to do a live stream and really kind of pay a lot of attention to broadcasts and things like that. And it's been a very, very important part of what we do here at Jacob's Tent. So happy to have my son not only on the set with me, but we're happy to have our son working with us. But I wanted Brandon to come on and just share a little bit from his perspective about why this is an important thing to do. That is the production and putting these different projects out there online through the different platforms. And just to kind of set things up here, Brandon has actually been doing this for quite some time, 20 years, I guess. Started when he was very young.
15, I think. I started doing your graphics for Shore Machine Ministries a long time ago.
At 15 years old.
At 15 years old?
Yeah, because we were poor and we couldn't afford anybody. Anyhow.
And my graphics were terrible back then too.
Well, they served a purpose. But anyway, he's been doing this for a very long time. This isn't his first rodeo. And a lot of what has happened in terms of production is not exclusively his doing, but the vision for it certainly is his. So I just wanted you, Brandon, to kind of share a little bit about, what you envision doing here with this studio and through all the equipment, and why is it so important that we do this at Jacob's Tent? Why do we need to put this time and treasure into doing things like this?
Well, first of all, personally, from my point of view, I believe everyone should use the gifts and talents that God's given them, for His glory and to advance the kingdom. So I'm very much a creative type person, and that's just kind of how I've always been. So this is my way of, putting my offering out. But as far as why we need to do it, it's outreach. It's our weapon of warfare, I guess you could say, in combating all the noise that's out there. So it's just the way people communicate these days. I mean, social media it's evil in a lot of ways, but it also has some good. And, with media, the type of media that we're doing, audio, video, and graphics and all that stuff, we want to kind of set a new standard. And Jacob's Tent is, start out with the live streaming, and it's kind of just evolved. And I've just been trying to put every little bit of, what I've learned through the years working different ministries and implementing that and seeing what works and what doesn't. And we've gotten a lot of feedback from our streamers. And so this is kind of the natural next step, is to come up with a new way of putting some stuff out there.
Well, you mentioned social media, and I think I've made it very clear that I hate, loathe, abhor, despise social media. But that being said, that is the way people communicate these days. And so you had said something off camera about, social media is going to be there. And so, Jacob's Tent and just the people who are in the body, not just Jacob's Tent, but we need to understand that this is how a lot of people communicate. And so rather than just kind of turning it over to darkness, we want to be that light. Right?
Yeah, we don't want to put our heads in the sand, I think is what I said off camera earlier. If it weren't for social media, all of our live streamers would still be out there somewhere and wouldn't know anything about us. So, I just believe it's, we want to share it to as many people as we can, and on camera and online is the way to do that.
I had mentioned that the set and all the equipment, how, it is expensive, first of all, and it's always changing, and you could speak briefly to that if you want to, but it's important that we kind of keep up with the times in that regard. So, quickly, give us a little bit of an idea of what went into the set, the equipment, et cetera.
Well, everyone on camera can't see it, but there's a whole lot of lighting up in the lighting grid right now, and maybe I'll show them something in a B-roll footage or something. But the set design itself is a lot of man hours. We built this thing, our whole team did, from bare walls to what you see now. Some of the guys that helped me are sitting behind a camera right now. Danny and I carved all this foam. It starts out, actually, though, with a conceptual. I had a little sketch that I did early on. I handed it to Danny with a few other ideas, and he just drew out this whole big thing. And more or less, his conceptual is what we built. Cody, the joke around here is that he's just the audio guy. But he does a lot. Everybody does a lot. That's just ministry. But he did a lot of things that are on this wall when it comes to the woodwork over here. I don't know if they can cut to a wide shot. Yeah, that way. Oh, I'm sorry, Cody. Cody's going to yell at me later for that. And then behind us we've got all sorts of foam and plaster and paint. None of this is metal. None of this is stone. It's all fake. And even behind me to my left, this is all stonework. We've got a bunch of foam and paint going on here. We've got some TV screens to make it look like there's a scene outside. So this took a good several months to put all this together. A lot of work. Not just my team. Mike helped us out as well quite a lot. He helped lay the flooring down, helped with a lot of the construction and, getting the ceiling prepped for us. So there's just a lot of work from a lot of different guys, several months of work.
Right. All right. So why go to this extreme? What's the thought behind that?
If any of my production volunteers are watching right now, our motto is excellence is kingdom, perfection is religion. So I can't remember where I heard that. I can't take credit for it, but I heard it a long time ago and it really stuck with me that we want to put something out there that is worthy of the master that we represent.
Okay.
And I believe that, he created this earth. He's the ultimate creative. So we should strive to be better than anything else that's out there. So,
well, in other words, we don't just give him what's convenient. We go beyond, right?
What was that song I sang when I was a kid? What can I give him for as I am? Mm-hmm. If I were a shepherd, I would bring a lamb.
Right.
Just give him your all. So that's just our way of giving him our all. There's a lot of equipment in here, and we don't have the budgets of some major ministry, but the Lord has blessed us with a decent amount to be able to do this. There's always going to be upgrades. I already want things to upgrade a little bit.
You always already want things. You open your mouth and dollar signs come out, but I'm not disparaging that.
No. Okay. Because I was going to say I wish that actually happened because I'd have. Keep my mouth open and my hands open as well.
We have invested a whole lot in the live stream and production and things like that. But, I want everybody to understand the reason we've done that is, well, first of all, because in this day and age, that's what we're going to have that if we're going to really want to make an impact.
So what you're saying is I was world right the first time I mentioned it?
Yeah. You were right. But also, I want to say this, the reason we have invested so much in the live stream and the production aspect, that includes the app, is because so many who are part of the Jacob's Tent community are joining the live stream. They're not here locally, and they have been played a very significant role in financially being able to do this. And so we feel like it's important to give back and to continue to put that into what we're doing here.
It goes back to the interaction versus entertainment thing. The whole thing with the app, that was one of the first things we did, other than the stream, was to have a tool. There's a lot of things on the app other than just video watching or podcasts or whatever. We had the Torah portions. I worked a long time on that to get the Torah portions where people just had that resource to be able to go to the app, see what the Torah portion was, listen to it if they want to, or, read your commentary, whatever it is. We want to provide resources to everyone out there who's following Jacob's Tent and share with their friends, help share the message of not just the gospel, but what it is we do here.
Well, I like I said, I wanted Brandon to come and join me for just a moment and speak from his point of view on behalf of all the people who are in the production team, those who are on staff. We have so many volunteers for different things, but production is a big part of what we do. And again, it's because we understand there's so many of you out there who don't have a local community, and this is a very important part of your life. At least that's what you're telling us. And the local community as well are going to benefit from some of these projects. So I just wanted to let you hear his point of view, his perspective. This is kind of his world in terms of what he does. And I guess, is there anything else you want to add before we say goodbye?
I just want to, I mean, like you said, we have a lot of production volunteers, and we could not do the live stream without those volunteers every week. Some of them are there every week. You know, we have our guys on staff that are also there every week, but from day one, we've had people who have really helped us do this. And some of them were live streamers before as well. So they moved here because they were live streamers. And then, you know, I'm thinking like Drew and Lori, you know, they've been here for a long time, you know, Jason and Earl and some of those guys that just been volunteering their time ever since they've been here. So I just want to give them a quick shout out and make sure everyone out there knows that there's a whole lot more people than me or Bill and Beth, you know.
Absolutely.
It takes an army.
Well, and, you know, that goes back to the, you know, not only the interaction, not entertainment aspect, but that ideal or that, you know, that concept being related to we're a family. And every family has different and unique personalities who bring different skills and talents and gifts, all of them, you know, given to us by the Creator to serve His purposes. And so that's what we're trying to do here. And so that, you know, there are things that we would not be able to do if people were not willing to donate their time and energy and, you know, blood, sweat, and tears to what goes on here at Jacob's Tent. And we're very grateful for that. And that includes the fact that so many of you are willing to not only pray for us and support us and encourage us, but to actually, you know, give toward these efforts. And so everything we've been able to do to this point, we would not have been able to do it without you. It's just the way it is. And anything that we're going to be able to do in the future, we're not going to be able to do it without you. And so we hope that our efforts, not only will they have the Father's favor upon them, but they will be a blessing to you, that they will play a role in contributing to your walk in your life and hopefully being a blessing to your family and your congregation, etc. And if this is being a blessing and if the Father places it upon your heart, we would certainly appreciate your continued contributions and gifts so that we can continue to do these things. As I said earlier, we have a lot of ideas, different projects we want to do. We've got the basic things that we need in place to kind of begin to do those things. But then again, we want to encourage you, if the Father places it upon your heart, to continue to support the efforts here at Jacob's Tent. And so again, if there's nothing else you want to add, I guess we'll leave it at that. And
just stay tuned in the future. Right. Lots of things coming around the corner.
Amen. So I'll leave it at that. Stay tuned.